for someone that maybe is starting to feel or is going through this process of, all right, I'm having trouble sleeping. What is your advice at that starting point? Because it's nice that we could say all the whys, we could say kind of remove some of these things, do, sleep hygiene and turn, off the lights at night. But you still may be ruminating in your head. I'd love to hear, what is your best advice for starting to turn that around, or at least not making it such a vicious cycle?
Yeah, there are a few things I do. I would first start off with working on your circadian rhythm and
Hmm.
helping get that aligned. And one of the biggest players in that is having a consistent wake up time. And that's hard for a lot of people to do because there's this sort of like, oh, I want to sleep in on the weekend. It feels so luxurious. And yes, it does. But your body and your brain don't know the difference between Monday and Saturday. So usually when I'm working with my clients, one of the first things we're doing is getting that wake time really dialed in and
Hmm.
finding a wake time that's actually going to work across the board for all days of the week. And what we find also when you have that anchored wake time is you become sleepy around the same time each
Yep.
night because your adenosine pretty much tops off, kind of needs to be released after about 16, 17 hours. So that wake time just sort of helps the whole consistency kind of keep going and going and going. And then the second part of the circadian alignment piece I would add is the morning light and as soon as you get up. So, within an hour of waking, getting up, getting outside, and not having anything on your eyes. So,
Yep.
where I live and taking the dogs for a walk every morning, I see people wearing their sunglasses. And I
Yep.
know they're really proud of themselves for getting out and walking, but they're doing themselves a disservice by having something covering their eyes. Because when the natural light hits our retina, it sends this signal to our suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is our
Hmm.
circadian pacemaker. And from there, there's this beautiful cascade of hormones and neurotransmitters firing off, and you're getting a lot of health benefits from that. So if you shield your eyes with sunglasses, you're missing out on all of that. So just pro tip, leave the sunglasses at home.
Yeah.
So we've covered, some of the circadian alignment pieces. And then I think the next thing I would probably talk to somebody about if they were kind of the anxious mindset, had a lot of stresses. Um, I work with a lot of people who are busy professionals, and they're on the go. They've got back-to-back appointments. Their whole day is booked solid. And
Hmm.
so what ends up happening in a lot of those scenarios is they don't have any white space during their day to process their thoughts and emotions. And so the only time they have to deal with those thoughts and emotions is when their head hits the pillow
Yeah.
or when they wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. All of
Mhm.
those things come like bubbling to the surface. So in those cases, what I recommend is taking what I call mindfulness snacks. And
Mhm.
so you've heard of exercise snacks, the little small bursts of activity throughout the day. It's similar to that in that you're taking breaks to have mindfulness. And so what that could mean would be a variety of things. It could be doing some meditations. It could be breath work. It could be journaling. It could be just walking outside in nature without your podcast. Not, and I know people want to listen to your podcast, but turn the podcast off
No, don't.
while don't consume extra information
Yeah.
because we're information is coming at us right and left all day long. So the whole point is to just schedule those breaks. And a lot of people that I work with need to actually put those breaks on their calendar. And I would recommend starting small, like maybe 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes afternoon, 10 minutes in the evening, to kind of give yourself that decompression time, that white space where you're just literally doing nothing. And
Yeah.
maybe some of the thoughts and feelings you're having during the day about the goings on of your day are able to get processed during that time.
I found
Um,
that to be a game changer in my life, that idea of time blocking versus just
mm,
task management. Because task management, you'll always have tasks there and it'll almost overwhelm you. Whereas if you
yes.
just block that in and always have a morning routine, even like you said, 5 minutes to just decompress, then at noon, 5 minutes again to do deep breathing exercise or something, right? Do that throughout. It's counterintuitive because everyone's like, well, we only have 24 hours in a day. But it's how you're using it. If you're constantly go, 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 and it's nonstop, like you said, and your only time to stop and think, really is when you're going to bed, you're doing it wrong, and that's going to actually work against you. It's not
Yes.
healthy. You'll be higher stress levels, you'll sleep worse, and you won't perform as well during the day to get everything you need to get done efficiently. So the
You
idea of
nailed it.
time blocking really is like, hey, put it in at, whatever it is near sunset to go for a walk, right? Get
Yes.
in that
Hmm.
red light spectrum that's already calming you down a little bit, getting you prepped, getting outside, clearing your head, walking, getting some energy fresh. That needs to be in your actual calendar. Like, right,
Yes.
just like I had this schedule and you get the pancake
Yes.
10 minutes before, like, oh, we all have the meeting scheduled.
Right.
Why don't we have those tasks scheduled? But I understand everyone's living an incredibly busy life and priorities are a little bit off.